On behalf of the GE Medical Systems Information Technologies team, we'd like to welcome you to this edition of the Training Leadership Series on Clinical Instruction. At GE, we strive to deliver leading-edge blended instruction through a compendium of training tools, and we trust this information will assist you and your peers down the learning path to clinical excellence. This video is a general guide to familiarize you with the Corametrix 170 series fetal monitors. In this video, we'll be using the Corametrix 172, offering the capability of monitoring twins. To begin, let's start by showing you how to load a package of chart paper into the monitor. Press the buttons on each side of the paper drawer to release the drawer latches and slide the drawer out towards you. Fan the pack of Z-fold paper to loosen the folds and hold the pack so the black squares are on the bottom. Unfold a few pages from the top of the pack. Place the pack in the drawer and slide the drawer closed. Okay, with the paper loaded, let's turn the monitor on. However, first make sure the AC adapter cable is connected to the monitor and that the detachable line cord is connected to the AC adapter and the wall outlet. Press the blue power button. The green indicator light to the left of the button will illuminate. A self-test routine checking the monitor's functions will automatically be initiated. All displays and indicators will illuminate, and a message reading, "Test, are all dots printed?" will be printed on the chart paper, along with 3 continuous lines drawn across the paper grids. These lines appear uninterrupted, letting you know that the printer is functioning properly. To begin monitoring, we'll plug in the transducers. All connections are color-coded. Connect the gray ultrasound cable plug into the gray port. Apply a small amount of gel to the face of the transducer and apply to the maternal abdomen where the strongest fetal heart tones are heard. A yellow heart-shaped indicator flashes in sync with the fetal heart rate sound, indicating a good fetal heart signal is being obtained. Secure the transducer in place. The triangular volume buttons located below the fetal heart rate display will raise or lower the heart rate volume. Always document the maternal pulse at the initiation of monitoring to rule out inadvertently picking up the maternal heart rate instead of the fetal heart rate. If your monitor is equipped with fetal movement detection, the primary ultrasound connector can detect gross fetal body movements. When detected, a solid line is printed on the bottom of the heart rate grid for the duration of the detected movement. When monitoring twins, a second ultrasound transducer is plugged into the second gray ultrasound connector and applied to the maternal abdomen. The volume control buttons are located just below the heart rate display for twin B. Twin A's heart rate tracing is printed in plain black and Twin B is in bold black. To monitor uterine activity, connect the white Toco plug into the white connector. Position the Toco on the maternal abdomen over the uterine fundus and secure it in place. Press the UA reference button to establish a baseline of 10. This UA reference button is located just below the uterine activity display and is illustrated with a 0 above it. The baseline may be set at 5, 15, 20, or 25 by pressing and holding the UA reference button until the desired number is displayed. To record the fetal heart rate and uterine activity data, you'll need to activate the recorder. Pictured above this button is a strip chart with an arrow illustrating the paper flowing and therefore recording data. Press the record button. The illuminated amber light next to the record button indicates the recorder is on. The next button to the right is the Paper Advance button. Pictured above this button is a strip chart with 2 arrows illustrating the paper flowing quickly. Pressing this button will cause the recorder to advance the chart paper for as long as the button is pressed. There are high and low threshold and signal quality alarms that can be set for each baby's heart rate. When enabled, the configured alarm limits print in the center margin of the chart strip at the 10-minute mark along with the time. If the alarms are disabled, the disabled indicator is illuminated. Setting the fetal heart rate alarm limits will be explained a bit later in this video. In the event a fetal alarm sounds, the respective fetal heart rate value and the red alarm indicator will flash. To silence the alarm, press the yellow alarm silence button. The fetal heart rate value and the red alarm indicator will continue to flash until the fetal heart rate returns to within the alarm limits. The last button on the lower right is the Mark button. It is illustrated with an arrow marking a strip chart and is used to mark an event. By pressing this button once, an arrow will be printed on the strip. This button is also used to activate the twins offset feature. When monitoring twin fetal heart rates, the overlapping tracings may be difficult to interpret. The monitor provides a feature which prints a shift of twin B's heart rate to plus 20 beats per minute higher than the actual heart rate. To activate this feature, press and hold the Mark button until a tone is heard. A vertical dashed line will print to indicate the start of the shift in twin B's heart rate. US2 plus 20 will be printed on the upper portion of each page of the chart paper to remind you that you are in the offset mode. To deactivate this shift, press and hold the Mark button again until the tone is heard. Another vertical dashed line will be printed, indicating the end of the offset shift mode. The monitor can be programmed to automatically return to the unshifted position after 10 minutes. Another feature available in this monitor is known as heartbeat coincidence. Coincidence occurs when 2 monitored heart rates have been approximately the same for about 60 seconds. It may indicate that the 2 fetal heart channels are picking up the same signal. If this occurs, the heart rate numerics for both heart rates flash alternately, one on while the other is off. The acronym HBC will be printed in the center margin of the strip, and 2 overlapping hearts will be printed in the upper portion of the strip. Once heartbeat coincidence is resolved, the heart rates stop flashing, and 2 side-by-side hearts will be printed on the strip. The remote event marker is an accessory used by the patient to indicate fetal movements. When pressed once, an arrow with FM above it will be printed on the strip. If the patient presses the button and holds it, an arrow with a tail will be printed for as long as the button is held down. This is a good way to indicate multiple fetal movements. The remote event marker plugs into the rear panel labeled with an arrow. The connector labeled with a musical note is for connecting a Corometrics fetal acoustic stimulator. Now that you've been shown how to use the Corometrics 172 fetal monitor, we will demonstrate how to adjust the fetal heart rate alarms and set the monitor's date and time. The setup button is illustrated with a clock and a page of a calendar. When you press and hold this button for a few seconds, a tone will be heard, indicating that you have entered the setup mode. Setup codes will now be shown in the uterine activity display, and the chosen setting will be shown in the fetal heart rate display. The UA reference button is used to toggle between the 2 displays. When the setting display is selected, the heartbeat indicator is illuminated. When the code display is selected, a plus and minus sign is illuminated. The volume control buttons for Twin A are used to change the code numbers and settings in each display. A summary of all the setup codes can be found on page 4-12 in the operator's manual and are also listed on the quick reference guide attached to the top of the monitor. Notice that code number 1 is now displayed in the uterine activity display. This code is for enabling or disabling the fetal heart rate alarms. Press the UA reference button to toggle over to the FHR display. Use the volume control buttons to select 0 for off or 1 for on. Now toggle back to the UA display by using the UA reference button and use the volume controls to change the code to number 2. Code number 2 is for setting the high alarm limit for the fetal heart rate. Toggle back to the setting display and use the volume control buttons to raise or lower the value displayed. Repeat these steps until all settings have been selected. Code number 3 is for setting the low alarm limit, and code number 4 is for setting the alarm volume. After code number 4, the numbers jump to 10 through 14. These are the codes used to set the date and time. Code number 10 sets the minutes. Code 11 sets the hour. Code 12 sets the day. Code 13 sets the month. And code 14 sets the year. Once all settings have been configured, they are automatically locked in. Press the Setup button to exit the setup mode and return to monitoring, or the monitor will auto-revert after 1 minute. There is no need to power down the monitor to lock in the setting changes. Please contact us with any questions you may have. Thank you for your interest in the Corometrics 170 series fetal monitor. For a more detailed explanation, please refer to the operator's manual, the clinical application guide, and the quick reference guide, which is attached to the top of the monitor.
On behalf of the GE Medical Systems education community, we'd like to thank you for your leadership and participation in this clinical education program.